Someone goes for your ribs, and your body takes over. You squirm, laugh, and beg them to stop. It is a completely involuntary, visceral reaction. It's a game we all play as children. Picture goofing off with neighborhood kids on the pavement, discovering exactly where your friends are most sensitive. But if you sit alone right now and drag your own fingers across that exact same spot, absolutely nothing happens. It feels entirely mundane. You might think this is a useless quirk of human biology, but this inability to tickle yourself is the smoking gun of a hidden neurological mechanism that dictates how we experience our reality. Your brain's baseline function is to keep you alive. To pull that off, it continuously scans your environment for new, potentially dangerous information. Evolutionarily speaking, our ancestors needed to know the absolute difference between the feeling of a poisonous spider crawling on their neck and the feeling of their own hair brushing against their skin. The brain solved this by developing an aggressive, automated filtering system for every piece of sensory input we receive. The very system that mutes self-touch to keep us safe suggests that our conscious perception isn't the primary tool we use to evaluate the world around us. The hardware running this filter sits right at the base of your skull, in a dense structure called the cerebellum. This structure is your brain's primary prediction engine. Every time you consciously decide to move a muscle, your motor cortex fires off a command to execute that movement. But before that command reaches your arm, your brain sends an efference copy to your sensory cortex. Calculating what the movement will feel like 200 milliseconds early, it acts like biological noise-canceling headphones, preemptively turning the volume down to 0. By the time your hand touches your ribs, the sensation has already been muted. You cannot surprise your own nervous system, which is why you cannot tickle yourself. But what happens to our perception when this prediction engine breaks down? Neuroscientists have found a fascinating exception to the rule. People diagnosed with schizophrenia frequently possess the ability to tickle themselves. In their brains, the timing of that efference copy gets delayed, or the signal gets lost entirely. When they reach out to touch their own arm, that noise-canceling warning never arrives. Because of that neurological lag, their brain doesn't anticipate the touch. Their own hand feels exactly like the hand of a complete stranger, proving that our normal reality is actively curated by the subconscious before we ever experience it. This forces us to scale the problem from simple physical sensation to the abstract concept of conscious choice. In the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted a famous experiment. He hooked participants up to brain scanners and told them to simply press a button whenever they felt the urge to do so. The results were considered impossible. The scanners revealed that the brain activity dictating the movement spiked before the person consciously decided to press the button. The physical brain makes the decision nearly half a second before the conscious mind is aware of the choice. The decision to act is finalized in the dark, silent subconscious. The conscious mind is only informed of the decision after the fact. The tickle glitch and the Libet experiment are two windows into the same reality. Your conscious mind is always living in the past, constantly catching up to the calculations your physical brain has already finalized. If your brain is calculating and altering your reality fractions of a second before you experience it, who is actually in charge? We like to think we are the authors of our actions. But the evidence suggests we are merely passengers, consciously experiencing a script that our biological hardware has already written for us.